So in today's video, I'm gonna be reviewing and rating every new lantern that was released with Book 3 Chapter 1. There's 9 new lanterns in total, so we got quite a bit to go through. Instead of ranking them in a tier list, I decided to rate them out of 10. I thought that would make a bit more sense. Let's begin. Rage's Cage. Being a normal lantern, it of course doesn't have much to it. The design is pretty basic and it doesn't exactly look like Tama's cage, but I get it. Both inspect animation and sound effects are actually really cool. There's definitely some effort there. I'm glad that it's not just the default spinning animation, though we all know that no one will use it anyway, which is a little sad. And the brightness is pretty decent for a normal lantern. This one is a 5 out of 10. Igao. Now, this was a pretty unexpected event, and I can't exactly say I enjoyed it. Come on! It was obviously pain to get, but it's a permanent lantern and apparently she will appear in future chapters too. I guess I like the idea, but I kinda hope Mimic doesn't make these rejoin type events again. Though I would love secret events that are not based on luck. The lantern itself though is pretty nice. I'm not a big fan of head lanterns, but the Smilewoman model itself is pretty well made, so it looks good. I like the hair animation and the inspect is nice, though for some reason it's just a little funny to me. The brightness is good too, but it's a red lantern which makes it basically useless for me. Rating for this one is 6.5 out of 10. Gota. This one replaced Akari lantern for nightmare mode, which makes sense because it definitely fits well. I don't really like Gota's design since they're very simple, which was most likely the point. The concept of the lantern is pretty cool. It's two Gotas combined and a bunch of red eyes inside the mouth, which is a little weird because Gotas don't have eyes. The inspect is pretty simple and the light color is blue, which is something you don't see a lot in the Mimic. Though once again, I don't think anyone will be using it. This one is unfortunately a 5.5 out of 10 for me. Normal Modakari. The first sneak peek showed us a slightly different animation for this lantern. For some reason, they decided to change it. Maybe because they want to make her visible in first person? As you guys might know, I prefer that more, so that's pretty cool. This one is another red lantern, so not much use to it. Animation is still good, so this one is a 7 out of 10. Baidama. Now this was pretty interesting. It was actually kinda leaked before Nightmare mode. Apparently Mook showed some of the lanterns in a public server and some people managed to capture it. At first I thought it was Baigai's head on a gavel and didn't understand how that made sense. Then someone pointed out it's actually a Japanese toy named Kendama. I find this lantern pretty creative and the animation alongside the sound effects is pretty satisfying. The brightness also looks pretty decent, so I can definitely use it. This one gets a 7 out of 10 too. Tama. Unfortunately, this one was pretty disappointing. A lot of people including me wanted a Tama lantern. It ended up being the cheapest new lantern with a pretty mid brightness in lobby. For some reason though, when you go to Book 3 Chapter 1, the brightness feels as good as Koi Fish lantern, which doesn't really make sense. I feel like a lot of the lanterns don't have the most accurate stats in this new chapter, so perhaps that's something that needs to get fix in the future. The lantern itself is cute, but I would honestly prefer the same design from the chapter. This version has a more cute chibi type head, which is okay, but yes, I prefer the original design more. Also, the inspect animation just feels too short and basic. It looks like it was a little rushed, so slight change in future might be nice. This one is a 6 out of 10. Mookie Blade. This one was quite unexpected. It's a very unique lantern for the Mimic. A literal floating sword behind your back. It's not exactly like the Mookie we saw from the chapter and more like a bunch of red Gotas combined in a sword. The inspect is so cool. It has a long animation and you're doing a bunch of tricks with it and it ends up doing this crazy thing. It's really well made and definitely fits Mimic more as a horror game. Technically, it looks disgusting, but we will just ignore that. Now, I'm not sure why it has a white light since there's clearly red neon mouths, so a red light would make more sense. But I'm not complaining. This one gets an absolute 9 out of 10. Bloodlusted Aari. The most expensive shop lantern. it's also a mythic rarity. So I guess mythic is not exclusive to only limited launchers now. When I first saw this lantern, I thought it would have same animations as regular Akari, but no. It has longer animation and bunch of things she's doing, which is pretty cool. Of course, she has pretty good brightness too. Another thing I noticed is the light is not fully white. There's a little bit pink to it, which looks pretty nice. Should it really cost 25k though? No, not really. Do I really mind it? Well, as a person who enjoys playing the Mimic when there's something to grind for, no. Even then, I was able to get her in first 2 days. Also, one thing I noticed about some of these new lanterns is shadows. Normally, most Mimic lanterns do not create shadows, however, it's pretty noticeable, especially on this one. Maybe they just forgot to turn them off. Anyways, my rating is 8 out of 10. Shini-sao. I saved this one for last since it's a Roblox lantern. I was debating if I should buy it or not and got it just recently. What can I say? It has a pretty good design and a brightness that might even be too much. The inspect is good too. I just never understood why it was released with Book 3. It looks like a lantern that should have been released between Book 2 Chapter 4 and Book 3 to perhaps support the development. I would prefer a Book 3 related lantern more. Isama was also not a protagonist that I was a huge fan of, so that's another reason. It's still a good lantern, so it gets a 9 out of 10 from me. And that's my rating for all new Book 3 lanterns. What do you guys think about them? Let me know down below, and I hope to see you in my next video. Goodbye.